What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Files, welcoming you to another edition of Lyle's Figure Files. Superman's birthday is February 29th, the leap year. Something I did not know, I don't know, in all my years of being a Superman fan. And let me take off my wedding ring so you can literally see how big a Superman fan I am. That's my wedding ring with Superman and Batman's logos right there. I didn't know his birthday was the 29th. Anyway, McFarlane Toys is always on top of things, and for all the complaints, most really valid about part choices. Why are we still using the boot cuff? Why can't you use a ruler to determine scale for these characters properly? I will never complain about the output that McFarlane is cranking out for these DC figures. I mean, it feels like every week there's a new pre-order, new reveals, something else coming on the pegs. It's just an amazing time if you're into this line, and he delivers figures that we want. And the latest example of that was this Batman DC Rebirth, classic colors, Aquaman, Silver Age, and Green Lantern. I mean, those figures are phenomenal. And you can see right there on McFarlane Toy Store, they're sold out. $75 for good figures. That's what we're talking about. It's not that complicated. Just deliver what the fans want and they'll buy it. And, sometimes when you kind of sort of do that, but then you put it through a bad outlet window like this Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think everybody, hearing the announcement of those figures and seeing them was like, oh man, this is great, this is awesome. But they're just gonna be exclusive to McFarlane Toy Store. Why are we doing that? And even at the original 160 price, no go 135, you can buy them still right now, not sold out. I think it's not a coincidence if they were typical price. I feel like they would have sold out right away because I can overlook any problems with $25 figures. $40 figures, you need to bring it so hard. Anyway, taking advantage of the timing, the window for Superman's birthday, McFarlane Toys revealed a new set of figures featuring the Man of Steel. Ta-da! So, there's so many Superman characters left. I mean, he's kind of touched the surface, done a General Zod, done a Lex Luthor, but we still need a Parasite, a really good Metallo. I'd argue we need a definitive version of Bizarro. We don't really have that. We don't have metallic android version Brainiacs. I mean, there's still a ton of characters. Toyman that we could still get. Even Terraman, I take him. So lots to do. So with a lineup of Superman figures, that's exciting. But for some reason, McFarlane decided now is the time for another wave of page punchers. And if you haven't been familiar with that concept, it's basically an original theme where it's I'll do what I like. He's pulling a Shock G and Humpty Hump, just throwing it out there. I'm going to make whatever. I'm going to come up with all the cool designs, and you guys are going to love it because I'm loving it. And I don't think people have really responded to it as well as, say, comic book focused featured figures. We see this Wonder Woman, and people can't track her down fast enough. Meanwhile, these page punchers languish on the pegs forever. And so I was a little bit surprised that there's another page punchers wave. Let's look at some of the ones he's done before. This is a Batman one. And, in terms of just, these are really unique, interesting looking figures, that's not terrible. It's not a crazy concept. It's just where the demand is for it because they're here on the website. And they're originally $99, $96. I don't know why we would just throw in another 3 more cents, make it $99, $99. But they're down to $80. People aren't buying them. And, hey, this $20 a figure, not bad. Of course, that shipping on the website does dull it out a bit. But we've also got a page punchers wave of Aquaman figures. And I really don't think these are terrible. I think that Aqualad, or I guess he's Aqualad, or Aquaman 2, whatever's going on with DC, I can't keep up with them. But Jackson looks pretty cool, but the scale again is off. Aquaman has a really cool, different design. Black Manta looks neat. Ocean Master can kind of fudge in well enough for your comic book version, but people weren't interested in this wave again. $84.96. You can still add a cart and get it right now. We're not done with the page punchers. Let's go to Flash and Hot Cheetos, Heat Wave, Atom, Captain Cold. These 3 figures, we don't have classic comic book versions of these guys yet. And this version of Flash, I mean, they're there's some wacky designs on these page punchers. And I think Todd should kind of go, maybe people don't want to get these figures. So we got this wave and it's $79.99. So they're all over the place. You can still buy them. So with that being said, with that news, why another wave of page punchers? Why not put out a wave of prices on Infinite Earth figures that you can get at Target, at Walmart, without having to resort to paying the exorbitant shipping prices on McFarlane Toys store? Real weird, odd question. And then, hey, there's more Silver Age characters. We can do Martian Manhunter, scale him properly. We can do Atom, Our Man, if you want to go deeper into Justice Society lore. There's so many characters that I think people just want classic comic book versions. I mean, we don't have an Atom. We don't have Ray Palmer. We don't have Al Bratt. I'd take both of them in figure form. So it's really weird. And DC has a ton of comics that you can actually use for inspiration without doing these original designs that doesn't seem like a lot of people are feeling. So anyway, we've got a Superman wave of page punchers. Let's break them down and let's see if this one will resonate with collectors any more than the previous installments. So this first take on Superman is interesting. It's him with a Ghost of Krypton armor. And I mean, this is kind of cool outfit. I mean, if you consider, let's take the Man of Steel's nickname literal. And so he's got these kind of armor wraps around him. He's got some spikes. I mean, Superman needs spikes. He's going hard. Mini destroyer armor here with the spikes here on the biceps, the forearms, and the fist and wrist. And then more just straps. I mean, this looks like a 90s Image Dream Superman outfit. If Image decided to go to DC as opposed to doing Heroes Reborn at Marvel, I think this is what the Superman figure would most likely look like. So it's not a terrible design. It just seems a little unnecessary for Superman. Let's take a look at the figure. And it's not quite the same thing. So we have Superman masquerading as Immortan Joe from Fury Road. I don't know what's happened with the translation of that cover image here, as classic Superman, to this. Wild. There's so much happening with this figure. I guess this is his fist. This picture is a little weird with the perspective, so I think we'll see a lot more and make more sense of this later, but it's a really weird look for Superman, and it kind of seems like a cyborg Superman when I first saw it. Like, what are they doing with him now in the comic book? But this is an odd design. I don't know where we're going with this, Todd, but it's certainly a look for Superman that we haven't seen before. And then next up, we have the ghost of General Zod, in keeping with the theme, Ghost of Krypton. And this Zod looks really weird and odd. I almost think that he could work, not so much as Zod, but just a random, character in the Phantom Zone that Superman encounters. I mean, we've got super anime style legs going here. Again, this pose makes it a little bit tricky to see how his proportions with his arms are, but this looks nice and emaciated. So that's he's free and he's thin. So he's got a little bit of both going on here. And he's got, and speaking of being emancipated, he's got the full Abraham Lincoln head sculpt going. I feel like this translucent body looks so much better than what we normally see from Hasbro with the Marvel Legends figure. So that's nice. This is kind of what I would love to see an Iceman figure look like for Marvel Legends. So good job there. I feel like this figure can kind of work as a generic Phantom Zone villain. So maybe that works. Kind of filling this belt loop, but okay. I mean, that's another way to go. But yeah, I think that's okay in terms of the basic Phantom Zone villain. Next up is Val Zod, and it's called Superman of Earth 2. And I really liked when DC was just experimenting with all kinds of different concepts with New 52, including their Earth 2 Justice Society. I thought they did some really fun things. And this was the Superman. His costume is cool. And, not necessarily this armored one, because again, the Superman need armor. But Val Zod is a really interesting, very unique Superman. And I think he would make for an awesome figure, provided that figure did not look like this. And I don't necessarily like the head sculpt. I don't think that really captures his personality that well. He's not angry. He's more of a thoughtful kind of like, do I really want to get in this fight? So that seems a little off for him. Again, bringing the cloth capes back, bringing sexy back with these cloth capes. Is it a little bit too thin because you can see so much of the fabric there? I don't know. It doesn't look like this is a wired one, but I really like that he's incorporating cloth capes into the figures. This Superman logo looks hecka chunky though. I mean, this looks like it is super thick. Again, throwing in all this extra armor, this kind of seems like more of what the body was on that Superman than as opposed to this one for Val's eye. I mean, the head sculpt definitely has some intensity to it, so it's not looking boring. Maybe you could use this as an alternate John Stewart head. I would love to see Val Zod as a figure, just not in this attire necessarily. I'm kind of curious what the deal is with the belt, why it's not painted all the way. Did think that in the original comic book art that was unpainted. Now, I don't know if that was because, hey, we're going to make sure we got him covered this time with not painting belts. You can see it's not painted all the way over, which is an odd design choice. I mean, that's just lazy superhero design work. And then finally, closing this thing out, Ghost of Krypton. This figure makes a lot of sense. It's Brainiac. Again, we still haven't, we've gotten several. We've got an Injustice version. We've got this one. I just want a basic Brainiac. And there's so many basic looks for him. Green skin, Lex Luthor clone, robot android, dude in a top hat, that whole look. But this one is actually kind of an interesting look for Brainiac. And I feel like if you skew to certain design aspects, you can make a pretty cool original Brainiac look. And I think that's what we got with this Page Punchers version here. So there's Brainiac. I think this head sculpt needs a little bit more, no, a lot more wash, a lot more detail, because it looks a little bit too plain. And I know we've got a little bit of variations of silver here to bring that up a little bit better, but it needs some more black wash to bring it out fully. I love the icon, the signal Brainiac, the brain sculpt there, all these extra arms. I think this will work really well for people who want different Brainiac drones to fight Superman. I think this will be a great army builder in that sense. I am very worried and concerned about how he's going to stand. These legs look super thin, and this knee joint is weak, and Buckley and these ankles also suck. He's not going to stand up worth anything. But if you can, I think this is going to be a really fun figure, and one that's probably going to be the most popular one of this set. So there we go. We got our Page Punchers wave of Superman, and I'm not sure anyone was asking for it. I feel like if we had gotten another version of Zod, Superman, a classic one that we're still really waiting on, one that doesn't have that grin that that latest one had, a Val Zod and a Brainiac android, maybe in his look from Crisis, I think people would have been really excited about this. I am curious to see, are you excited about this Page Punchers wave? Is it for you, or are you just kind of like, Todd, what are you doing again? So these figures go up for pre-order on March the 6th. So that's next Wednesday. I'm sure my fellow associates, affiliates, Entertainment Earth will have the pre-orders available. If so, I'll post them in the link for anyone who is interested and who is excited about it. So let me know in the comments what you think. Are you going to pick these up? Kind of wait to see what some reviewers think about them before grabbing them? Or are you like, no, Todd, try again? All right, let me know. And you guys have a great day. Thank you as always for watching. This episode of Lounge Figure Files has been filed.